it's Vicki and Annette, and we're back here for the last time to talk about the Sewing Bee. So last night's episode was the final. I can't believe we've reached the final already. That 10 weeks has gone by in a flash, hasn't it? But yeah, we're very excited to talk about tonight's, with it being the final, aren't we? There's lots to chat about. We're both really sad that it's come to an end, haven't we? But yeah, all good things do, don't they?
They do. So that's true.
Before we get stuck in, Mum, tell us what you're wearing. You're wearing a very colourful make today, aren't you?
Yeah. It's one of my holiday dresses.
Yes.
Stylark Nova midi dress.
Yeah.
In the Exploring Portugal.
Yeah.
I made it at the time we were actually going to Portugal.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's the
name
name of the
quite
place, isn't
fitting.
it? Yeah.
But it's very similar to the Montana dress from Stylark.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the top's pretty similar.
Yeah.
I like these darts here.
Yeah.
On it. They always give me personally a good fit in a sleeveless dress.
Yeah.
And where the Montana just has the one frill from there, this has...
It's got tiers, hasn't it?
It's got tiers of frills, which took a fair bit to sew, but
yeah,
I like
worth
them.
it.
Hard work to iron, but...
yeah, but worth it. It feels... Well, it looks like it feels very swishy. And...
Yeah, the Montana for me is... quite straight up and down.
Yeah.
This one,
just a bit more fullness.
You just get that more swishiness.
Yeah, and perfect for a holiday dress.
Absolutely,
then, isn't it?
yeah. Yourself?
Well, I'm wearing, I wear this make all the time. It's the Victoria blouse, one of our Minerva exclusive patterns. It's just such an easy to wear kind of top, and I feel very comfortable in it because it's a nice, oversized kind of fit. And this is one I actually made pre-pregnancy, so it is a little bit tighter fit than it used to be, but because of the
doesn't look it though.
No, you get away with it, I think. Absolutely, because of the oversized nature. So it's getting lots of wear at the moment, and this print is called Sun Print Palms. It's actually one of your favourite prints, this one, isn't it? Yeah. Again, viscose chalet, which both the clothes are today, aren't they? So just nice and breezy again in this heat.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the pattern challenge first. Now, just before we get started, Mum, we'll just put a disclaimer in. There will be spoilers in this episode. We are going to talk about who won. So if you haven't, watched the episode yet, go away and watch it and then come back and join us.
Yeah.
So the first pattern, the final pattern challenge of the series. So it was to make a pair of opera gloves, wasn't it? Which they've never done that before, have they? Very different.
Was,
and I must admit, when I saw last week that was going to be the challenge, I did think that's not that difficult, is it? A pair of gloves. And especially when they said, because they'd made a point in this several times, saying, you've plenty of time for this, we want to see perfection. Yeah. So I thought, But then, I must admit, when I saw that gusset piece...
There is a misconception that small things are easier to make.
Yeah.
It's like a child's dress to a lady's dress. They're more fiddly.
Yeah.
So I sort of knew how fiddly it was going to be. And I also realised that it was going to be very narrow seams.
Yes.
Because,
you couldn't have a big seam.
You just couldn't have a big seam.
No.
Even if you trimmed it off after.
Yeah.
You couldn't start sewing a big seam on them. So...
So have you ever sewn gloves before?
No.
Out of interest? No, I haven't. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm necessarily inspired to. If
I've never been inspired to.
No,
I must admit.
But it was an interesting project to watch them do, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it was Ilsa that said at one point. She said, I've never gone from being such a perfectionist on one glove to the next glove to being just get it done because I'm running out of time. So what do you think of the three then?
Pasha's, as soon as she got that lace out, I thought, put it back, don't do it.
I think some laces are easier than others, aren't they? Now, the fact she used the stretch lace was a good idea because it's more forgiving, isn't it, on the fit? Yeah. But I think the one she chose was quite dense lace at some bits and very not dense lace at others.
If it had been dense all over
and
stretchy, she'd have had a good chance.
Yeah. But then when she sewed the thumb in, did she say inside out and upside down?
Upside down, I think.
I'm not quite sure how she managed to do that, but it...
Easy done.
Yeah.
But you know, in all honesty, if you had more time, it always comes back down to that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But if you had more time, you would look at it pinned in the right way out,
literally check
and
it,
think,
yeah,
that's the way it goes, not up here.
Yeah, and I do think the look of Pasha's gloves were very lovely, very
Definitely.
delicate, weren't
Oh,
they?
absolutely.
And if it weren't
what
for
you
that
think
one,
of when you think of sort of opera gloves.
Yeah. If it weren't for that one mistake, I think she could well have won that challenge.
Yeah.
But you know, it's what happens.
And they
on
did
the night,
rip a
isn't
little bit when.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
When the model
enough.
was
yeah,
putting them on.
Yeah.
So they were a little bit small.
Yeah.
Or was it just the model's fingers catching on the lace that was
perhaps
scanty?
the stitching on the bits of the lace that were delicate and not like dense.
Yeah.
Perhaps the stitching just wasn't enough because it was so near the edge.
Yeah.
Because of the small selve edge. Yeah.
And then unfortunately she must have took more than half a centimetre seam.
Yeah.
She must have done, because they were so tiny, weren't they?
Was that not Ailsa's, the black one that you're thinking of? Were Pasha's the same?
Well, Pasha's were the same, but I thought that the fabric stretched more, so the model did manage to get them on. But as they were first putting them on, she gave a look as if to say, I can't get them on.
Oh, right, okay, right.
Yeah, because they were the first ones that Patrick and Esme looked at. Yeah.
Well, on to Ailsa's next then. Now, I thought with this, so obviously Pasha struggled with the lace fabric choice. Luke's came out fantastic, didn't they? Which we'll come to the fabric choice in a sec. But I think Ailsa's fabric choice, I think just with how it looked like it handled on screen, I think it was a stretch woven fabric, not a stretch knit. And I think that's where she came unstuck.
Yes.
I don't think there was enough stretch in the fabric.
It did look like that.
And it looked like a two-way stretch as opposed to a four-way stretch, like what you would get with a knit.
You need everything.
Everything needs to stretch, yeah, absolutely. So, and I think that's part of the reason as well why they looked so thin and they were impossible to get on, weren't they? If that had been a knit fabric, I think she might have just got away with it.
Yeah.
But yes, I think personally, I think it's the fabric choice that let her down. Albeit it did look very nice. That fabric, didn't it?
Yeah.
So
just that extra long.
Yeah. These bits looked really nice, didn't they?
Certainly, yeah.
And then on to Luke's. I mean, they did a very good job, didn't they? The fabric that Luke chose is definitely a stretch velvet knit fabric, because we have that fabric here at Minerva.
So you knew.
So I knew it was a knit. So it was like a black velvet, wasn't it, with these like metallic gold kind of spots all over it. It looked very elegant and dressed up, didn't it? So it suited the theme.
And they seemed to take quite a bit more care going round.
Yeah. At least that's how it showed in the edit anyway.
That's how it showed it to me.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just the fact by doing that it went as it should do.
Yeah, and I mean they did look a very nice fit. And
they did,
so,
absolutely.
So I take it then you're the same as me. You agreed with
absolutely.
Yeah. I think the fact that Pasha's had the thumb that you couldn't get in and the holes, it had to come last, didn't it? Unfortunately, as good of a sewer as she is, and Luke's had to come first. Didn't it? So Word agrees with that.
Definitely.
So in terms of patterns, now we haven't got many patterns for this week, which if you've watched, the made to measure, you'll understand why. But for the gloves, we do have two patterns we found that are pretty good options, haven't we? So one's from an indie pattern company called So Chick, and it's number 105, their glove pattern. And this one looks to have the gussets, doesn't it? Just pretty similar to those last night, really.
Very similar,
So very kind of elegant. So Chick patterns are vintage style patterns.
Yeah.
So very elegant, very lovely glove pattern. And then the other one is Vogue 8311, and that's a glove pattern that has like lots of different options on it, doesn't it? And I guess lots of them are more kind of like daytime gloves, but a very similar idea and just gives you lots of options. So if you've been inspired to have a go at something quite tricky and a very detailed kind of project, then we've got those two patterns for you. So next on to the transformation challenge then. If I'm completely honest, it was kind of back to the sort of transformation that's not my personal favourite.
And myself.
Yeah. I get that. I sort of like, well, the theme was using all this sort of like party paraphernalia, wasn't it? Like paper hats, paper like plates, streamers, bunting, plastic tablecloths.
That would just be my worst nightmare.
Yeah, I think I would struggle.
I saw materials, not paper
hats. Yeah. I mean, I do like that it forces them to think creatively, doesn't it? And to do that in a very quick period of time.
Yeah.
But I must have, when I think it was Esme, wasn't it, said, like, this is what you've got and we want you to make something wearable. And I thought,
no way.
Wearable out of a paper hat. I mean, it was a tall ask, wasn't it? So considering that, I think we did a good job.
Yeah.
Whose was your favourite then?
Well, between Pasha's and Luke's.
Okay, yeah. I think I would probably agree, yeah.
I think if I had to pick one, it would be Luke's.
Okay, yeah.
Because they actually did quite a bit of sewing. They joined all the paper napkins together.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dress out of paper napkins, wasn't
it? The bow on the back must have suited Esme.
Yeah, very true. I didn't think of that.
So Luke's would be the choice for me. Pasha's was very nice though.
Yeah.
The idea of the greenish dress made out of a paper tablecloth.
Like a plastic coated heavy tablecloth, wasn't it?
And then all the silvery.
Yeah.
It was like the Tina Turner dress.
Fringe dress. I thought that. Yeah. And it certainly had a very party feel about it.
It certainly did.
That silver. Yeah. And then it had like the thing at the top.
That looked nice. I thought it set it off, but unfortunately, Ailsa's.
When it started, I thought, I like where she's going with this.
I did,
And it just, I think it's one of those things when you've got to think that creatively on your feet in such a short amount of time. Sometimes it just goes your way, and sometimes it doesn't it? And I don't think it.
And I liked, like you say at the beginning, I was thinking, looks looking good. And I liked the idea that she was wrapping it round and round, so eventually everything was getting covered.
Yeah, like almost created a solid fabric out of it.
Yeah. But then when it was finished, I didn't really get it. And she also knew from about a third the way through that there was no fastening there.
Yeah.
And she decided to carry on. She hadn't time to do anything about it.
She got too far in by that point. She committed too far, hadn't she? And I think, again, a time thing, another half an hour, she'd have probably figured out a fastening one, and it could have been really cool then, I suppose.
There was one a few weeks ago where they transformed from something, whatever, and a few didn't put a fastening in.
Yeah.
And Esme and Patrick really commented on all of them, how are you going to get it on?
Well, if you remember Ailsa's from last week with the ties,
she couldn't get
through the neck bit, could she?
Yeah. She's sort of jumping forward.
Yeah, she's just been very creative. And then it was just a time thing with that.
But I think Luke and Pasha obviously thought, that a zip or some sort of a fastening. She did Velcro, was it?
Yes, Velcro. Yeah.
That they had to think of that and get that in to start with.
Yeah.
So well done on that.
Yeah. It's I think it was a particularly hard transformation challenge, that, wasn't it? And fair play to Luke for putting a zip in a paper napkin. I mean, it's really good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So finally, then onto the made to measure, which I guess is. I think the final made to measure is really it's the pinnacle of the show, isn't it? It's the showstopper. Yeah. It's the chance. It's the last chance to put everything into it, isn't it? And really, I guess, try and win the title of, you win the show. So this, I mean, it was a very different kind of challenge, wasn't it? So the challenge this time was they had to drape create a dress, so like a party outfit, wasn't it? And they had to fully drape the whole thing, didn't they? So they couldn't use pattern pieces
at all.
and it had to be draped like either on the model or on the mannequin, which they said everybody had a mannequin that was the same measurements and dimensions as the model.
Which was really good.
And they invite like the friends and family to which I always think that's nice in the last episode.
Definitely,
So if I'm honest, I have like mixed emotions about this, and I think it's maybe because I and don't get me wrong, I think they all did an amazing job and it was fantastic to watch. I think when I say mixed emotions, I think, well, how I would have done it, I think I would have really struggled with that because I've never really done any draping as such. I've done pattern drafting to some extent, but that's a different thing again, isn't it? Draping is its own art form.
Again, I've done pattern alterations.
You've done a little bit of drafting, haven't you? It's something
a little bit,
but draping again, it's just something different, isn't it? So I was very intrigued to watch how they were going to go on with it. And in fairness, I think they all did a very good job.
Yeah, I do, and I enjoyed watching it.
Yes, I did.
I really enjoyed it.
Shall we talk about Elsa's?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Elsa very much used, she a kilt was part of the ensemble, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She was pulling on her Scottish roots as inspiration, using the tartan. And I think, did she say it was her granddad's tartan? I can't remember the name of it now, but I thought that was lovely.
Yeah.
It was like a turquoisey one, wasn't it?
I did think the skirt bit, where she was doing it like this, I thought, is that classed as draping?
Yeah, I think so.
It is,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's okay then.
It's all basically
I just wondered.
manipulating fabric on a form, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, all this kind of, did they class it as like a bit like a waistcoat, but a very, I guess, abstract kind of waistcoat with all this pleating detail. Yeah. And then a bit of the tartan came up around here, didn't it?
Yeah. And the fastening there, which looked whichever side.
Yeah. And I think they have other buckles down the side, I think she mentioned. Didn't she?
Yeah.
All in all, I thought it was a very different look. And I think she did a very good job. I just think maybe compared to the others, maybe I can understand why she didn't win, I suppose. But I think, again, we said about Elsa throughout the whole series, haven't we? She's got such a unique style.
Yeah.
She designs some amazing
fantastic
stuff, and I think that it really felt like her, didn't it?
Absolutely,
So I was really happy for her that she'd been able to end on such a high note. It's I think as well because it's draped, there's it's almost harder a little bit to describe the garments because they're all very kind of like avant-garde, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I imagine her making that as she went along. I imagine it felt a little bit like she almost didn't know what to expect herself. She had to kind of just go with it. And
I think it was extremely unique.
Yes, absolutely. Which that sums Elsa's design up.
Absolutely,
up,
again,
it? Yeah. She's just so unique, isn't she?
Yeah.
So next on to Pasha then.
Pasha.
Yeah.
Again, I think it was such a shame she didn't finish it because it was so short under the
that bit
side
at the front.
part.
Yeah. I think she said that was meant to have been hand stitched down, didn't she? That would have like closed that gap a little bit.
And she run out of time, unfortunately. Although it was unique, I don't think it was as unique as Elsa's.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You would see something like that on the catwalk or...
Yeah, which is you could look at that as a good
That's
thing.
a good thing, yeah, definitely.
I think these big sort of shoulder bits were fabulous. That was my favourite bit of her
the dress. Yeah, and the way it come down to the waist was just amazing. I thought. Front and back.
Maybe just the bottom bit that you could tell that's why she'd run out a bit of time.
It just let it down. I did. Which was such a shame.
I did love the colour of it as well.
Yes, I did.
It was the only garment of the three really that brought some colour to the catwalk,
didn't
it? So I liked that about it personally as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed, but you know when they sort of like give you like the drawings, if you will, of what they're planning to make. They do that at the beginning, don't they? I do think Pasha's, like, had she have finished that, could have been an absolute showstopper. It just, I think when you saw that and then you saw the version where she didn't quite manage to do as much as she wanted.
As it shows them sewing as well, that was my favourite.
Yes.
Which I without doubt thought was gonna, if they'd have had a garment of the week, would have been the garment of the week.
At that stage.
Because I just loved the top so much.
Yes, it was very dramatic, wasn't it? Maybe more dramatic than Ilsa's. Ilsa's maybe felt a little bit more dressed down in a way, probably just because of the fabric
of the
choice.
tweed.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing else.
But yeah, I mean, that's just, I guess, personal style choice, isn't it? Yeah. So then on to Luke's.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, Luke pulled it out of the bag last night, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I
don't think you could tell while he was sewing it just how good it'd be.
Yeah. And I think, again, from the line drawing bit when they were showing that on screen, I thought at that stage, like, oh, I like the idea of this sort of, it was like a half blazer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That created like half of the dress.
Yeah.
It was so unusual, wasn't it? And I did think like, oh, if he can pull that out the bag, and because I mean to drape a jacket like or a half jacket.
I think it was Esme that pointed out the way the collar was pointed, and it sort of ran into that point.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
And was it Patrick that said just the placement of those two buttons, like in between those folds?
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then at the back, they'd
you tell me, because we're getting all excited talking about it, aren't we?
The back, they'd put in a zip sort of between the cream and the black.
Yeah, that was very clever, wasn't it?
So very clever again.
I think with Luke's, did they say that? Yeah, they did. That like the ruffles. Was it like gathered up tulle fabric? I think at the bottom.
They hadn't sewn as many in as they'd intended.
Yeah. So Pasha, Luke had run out of time. However, I don't think on Luke's it mattered, did it?
No.
They got away with it, and I guess maybe with more layers and more ruffles, maybe it would have been even more amazing. But without, I don't think it mattered at all.
And I think when they showed the initial photo, sketch, I should say.
Yeah, the drawing of.
I thought that the jacket half was quite big, and I wasn't sure what my feelings were on it. I much sort of preferred Pasha's drawing.
Yeah.
But when it was done, obviously, as they'd been draping it, they must have thought, oh, well, it looks better there and that looks better there. And I think the finished outfit...
The proportions were awesome.
Yeah, they were perfect. The whole thing, for me, was better than the sketch.
Yes, no, I know.
Do you get what I mean?
Well, I think, like I was just trying to say with Ilsa's before, I think just the nature of draping a garment like that, and I know they can practice to an extent at home, but have they got their model there to hand? And I think if you drape the same thing twice, this is my understanding of draping. Bearing in mind I've never done it, so but I think it wouldn't necessarily always be exactly the same each time you do it.
No.
So I think, like what you were saying there, I think they probably just went with it, all three of them.
Yeah.
And to some extent, in the moment, that can either just work or not. And I think with Luke's, they'd gone with it. They'd got the proportions and it just all fell into place.
And let's face it, somebody who hadn't just got it right the first time will take it all off and start again.
Yeah, exactly. At home, you'd have time to do that, wouldn't you?
The three contestants had the one chance, hadn't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was amazing. I loved it.
Yes,
I think that's what I'm trying to say as well. On the sketch, the jacket half was very dominant.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And the dress part was the background.
Yeah.
But on the finished model, it was half and half, which I thought was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, we keep saying with Ilsa's just how unique and unusual, but I mean, Luke's was certainly unique and unusual, wasn't it? And
walking down the catwalk, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
It was lovely,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, showstopper. It's everything you wanted in a final.
And
measure,
the person modelling it.
Yeah, was it the friend? I can't remember now what the connection was.
The friend,
but yeah.
just the swagger.
Yeah. It was just brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
And
sorry, go on.
For me, Luke thoroughly deserves to win.
Well, you predicted it. Luke
I did,
didn't you? Yeah, I predicted Pasha, didn't I? I do completely agree. Luke the winner.
Yeah, it was.
I did think Pasha was going to win if I was on it. If I'm honest.
Yeah.
Just because of how she's been, throughout the series.
But last night, on the night.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's how it's judged, isn't it? Yeah, and I do
Luke
personally,
was the winner.
I do agree with that way of judging, because I think had it have been about the accumulation of the whole show, I get the fairness of that in one way, but I do think then we'd be going into the final thinking, oh well, they've won, whoever that might be, and it might not make for a very interesting, interesting episode. Whereas to me, it really felt this week that anybody could win it. And somebody different to who I thought did win it.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think Luke thoroughly deserved it. I think the way, when it was announced at the end and Luke's reaction, it was just lovely, wasn't it? You could see how much it meant to them.
Absolutely.
And seeing how Ailsa and Pasha reacted, it's such a lovely show, isn't it? They're all. They seem just so supportive of each other, and it's just nice, isn't it?
Everybody had tears, or actually crying.
Yeah, you feel like you're there with them, don't you? After all these weeks, but Pasha and Ailsa, absolutely worthy finalists, and they can absolutely leave that contest feeling so proud of themselves. They might not have won it, but boy, they were very, very good runners up. Should be so proud of themselves. So this week we haven't actually chose what we would have done in the final, have we? Just because we felt like with a draping challenge like that, there's not much.
Considering we've never done it.
Yeah, and I don't feel like there's, without actually doing it maybe would have been hard to describe a vision. So what we thought we'd do instead, and with it being the final, we thought we'd pick some of our highlights from throughout the series, didn't we? Just nice to kind of reminisce on this year, isn't it? And look back. Yeah. So do you want to kick off, Mum, with just we've made a note of just some of our highlights, haven't we?
Well, you've got to mention Luke's Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
The black with the shoulders and the white collar that got slated a little bit. But I still think when we were looking at
with
pictures,
like the helmet and the bike handle things, wasn't it? I think you're maybe on about.
I'm talking about a different one.
Are you talking about the one with the big pointy collar?
I am.
Oh, well, we're both on different ones then.
All right. Both from Luke. Yeah.
Both. Well, they're both black, aren't they? I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, for me, I guess,
you were thinking of that one, and I was thinking of the
the one with the big shoulders and the big statement.
Although they've done big shoulders before, it was the one with the black jacket, the one that I'm on about, that really got me liking Luke. Big shoulders to me remind me of the 80s.
Yeah.
It will do a lot of people.
Yeah.
But and you can't sort of say that they're in fashion at the moment, but in a statement way, yes, they are.
Like a costume like that.
Absolutely.
It's a way to create structure, isn't it? And exaggerated style lines, I suppose.
Definitely.
I think one for me would be Pasha's black dress. The one inspired by Coco Chanel. Yeah. So it was cut on the bias in that silky satin fabric.
That was lovely.
Plain black.
Absolutely.
Little gathered detail there, wasn't it? Flutter. I love a flutter sleeve.
Did she put like a little silvery,
like a diamante or something, wasn't it? Yeah. So classy, so elegant, just beautiful, and I'm still amazed that she pulled off a bias cut dress in that time, in that fabric, and it came out so well.
But actually, that looked good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll just say another one from Pasha.
Go on.
I just love this one from Kids Week. The one that she won Garment of the Week with, the crocodile head. Kids, what was it? A fancy dress outfit, wasn't it? Yeah. That made in town. An hour and a half. I'm still blown away by that. Yeah. And it was just so fun, wasn't it?
I really thought that week that Pasha would go on to win.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Any more from...
One from a much earlier one. Was it called French Riviera Week or something?
Yeah.
And Alex did a striped jumpsuit.
Oh, you loved that, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
Was it? I can't think now. Was it in blue and white, like
I think it was green.
a bit green, maybe a greeny,
greeny,
turquoisey stripe.
Yeah, and it had like a straight band here, didn't
Yes.
it? Quite
Just
wide, straight straps.
Quite simple, really.
Yeah.
But just for holidays and...
Yeah, you'd like wearing something like that,
I
wouldn't
would,
you?
I would. And I thought it was a dress at first, so you could easily
it could have
transform
been a
it
dress version,
into a
couldn't it?
dress very easily. So yeah, I liked that.
Yeah.
Definitely nice and crisp and
Yeah.
nice for hot weather.
Yeah. Well, also, I'm pretty sure it was from French Riviera Week. There was Ilsa's pleated trousers, the really wide leg trousers.
Oh, yes.
They were fabulous, weren't they?
I think they put her on the map.
Yes, definitely.
For the programme,
yeah,
they really did.
And I think she was very clever as well in that, you know, like lots of people fell down that week because they tried to sew a whole outfit when they weren't necessarily asked for that.
Yeah,
she just did the
absolutely,
one thing and did them amazingly well, didn't she? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I think of Ilsa and her like starring moment on the show, I would say they were those trousers. She just
did they
blew us all
win
away.
pattern of garment of the week?
I'm 99% sure it were.
I think they did, didn't they?
Yeah. Should have done.
Yeah.
Another one for you, was it Lauren's the bustier dress week, where she made like a pink, almost like a puffball skirt that was all like ruched up in different gathers.
Because I chose some fabric similar to it, didn't I? And a pattern that you could quite easily make in it. I love that. I would say, I think that's my favourite outfit of the whole series.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Wow,
because
you liked it that much then.
It was so wearable.
Yeah. But different as well. Yeah. And
I really
to say it was
did
recycled
like
from a wedding dress as well. I mean, you would never guess it, would you?
Yeah.
And then lastly, I think another favourite for me was, I've got to mention Pasha's bustier dress. And if you remember that, again, you used that as inspiration for one of your picks as well, I think. And that was the...
I'm getting mixed up again, aren't I?
Are you?
I am. It's Pasha's bustier dress that was my favourite from the whole series.
Oh, okay, right. For Lauren's, I'm thinking...
I'm not with it today. It's because it's finished.
Yeah.
I'm going to be... I'm so upset.
Yeah, no, Lauren's then, it was the pink puffball skirt with like a little top with it.
Oh,
so,
that one. I did love that.
Yeah, you did. It was one of your favourites, definitely.
Yes, it was. It was.
So, okay then, so it was Pasha's bustier dress.
It's your writing.
It's the lace over the...
Oh my God, no, this was the one. This was the one that
could that be my favourite as well? No, I'm going to go with Luke's Lady Gaga outfit. That was my favourite. I mean, I know it's not like something I would wear, but to see that on as a costume on a stage, I just thought it was phenomenal.
For something that I wouldn't wear, that was the garment for me as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then something I would want to wear, I'll maybe go with Pasha's Coco Chanel inspired, the bias cut black satin dress.
Very you.
I love vintage style stuff, don't I? Whenever I get the chance, the opportunity to dress up and wear something like that. Yeah. So would you maybe go first? So Pasha's bustier dress is maybe your favourite, but the thing you'd want to wear, maybe Alex's striped jumpsuit, but maybe a dress version of it.
Well,
a jumpsuit.
I like the jumpsuit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You're on holiday.
Yeah. And there's absolutely loads more we could have mentioned, isn't there? I mean, like Susie's big pink Lady Gaga coat.
Yeah, there's people we haven't even mentioned on there.
Yeah. Alex's big puffball organza dress that she hand painted. That was from the wedding dress episode. That was amazing.
Yeah.
There's been loads, hasn't there? That'd be interesting.
Absolutely.
Actually, let us know in the comments what was your
even
favourite
going
highlight
back
from the show.
to was it Don? You know, he was such a good sewer.
Yeah.
And that beautiful fitted blue dress.
Yeah.
Like like a nice mid blue like this.
Yeah.
And then he put
Gaudays
in a darker blue.
Yeah.
I mean, the sewing on it and the fit
was
lovely.
Yeah.
He was such a nice good sewer.
Yeah,
and
yeah. And did you
just
see?
never enough time for him, was there?
No. Did you see at the end? You know when they do like the clips of like what the bees have been up to since?
Yeah.
And I think did he say he'd welcomed his 12th grandchild to the world? Was it
I
his 12th?
missed that.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
definitely. I can't remember. I think it was his 12th.
Where somebody had gifted him some fabric and he'd made a shirt in it.
Yeah,
I
can't remember that.
Lauren, I think it was.
Oh yes, yeah.
Lauren had gifted him.
Yeah. So I do like seeing what they've been up to
in
since.
touch. And,
Yeah,
it's so nice.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's such a feel-good show, isn't it?
I think that's one of the things I love about being on the show.
Yeah,
the fact that you've made
camaraderie,
friendships that just go on and on.
I mean, we're very lucky. The fact that we we're involved here, set up Minerva, and we work at Minerva every day, and that we're surrounded by creative people and sewers all the time, aren't we?
We are.
Our customers and our Minerva community on the website, So, but I think sometimes for people at home, sewing can be a lonely hobby if you don't have any friends or family that do it. I mean, that's one of the biggest sort of inspirations for us to create the Minerva community and the Minerva website as it is now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that people have a space to go and share the hobby and talk about the hobby and just
chat along.
Exactly. But the sewing bee feels like it does that, doesn't it?
It definitely. Yeah. So we've got 12 months to wait.
Yes. We do. I mean, hopefully there'll be like a Christmas special. Yeah, so not too long.
Yeah.
I saw actually, I think it was on like a Facebook group or something, and there was a lady there that suggested instead of like a Christmas special this year, wouldn't it be a cool idea if they like brought back the finalists from like the last few years and did what do they call it, that kind of show, like the
Champion
of Champions sort of thing.
Champions,
yeah, that would be a cool idea.
It would actually, because you do forget a lot of the contestants, don't you?
Yeah.
Or even somebody that had maybe not necessarily won it. Maybe somebody who come third or fourth.
Yeah, like the finalists maybe. Yeah.
Just anybody that wanted to do it, and then Patrick and Esme could pick who they wanted.
So Sewing Bee producers, if you're watching, take this idea from this lady on Facebook. I can't remember the lady's name now. I just remember thinking that's a good idea. I like that.
And I do think on Facebook as well, the presenter's gone down very well this year.
I really liked him.
I like him.
I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think he's
he just does enough.
Yeah, enough silliness and funny bits
that just makes you smile.
Yeah, but not too much.
Not too much.
Yeah, and it feels like he's very supportive of the contestants. And when he having his little chats with them, I think it's a really good balance he's managed to strike.
And some episodes where he's called Patrick and Esme a different name. I can't think of any offhand, but I know what you mean. At them. They were quite funny.
Yeah. So I hope he's back next year.
I do. The other lady presenter, she's off for maternity.
Sarah
Pascal.
She might be back.
Yeah.
I think with all of them, I think when there's a new presenter, it always takes me a little bit of time to get used to them. But by maybe week 3 or whatever, I've liked all of them in the different ways.
Definitely.
I guess we'll have to wait 12 months to find out, won't we?
Well, Christmas.
Well, yeah. Hopefully. So that, I guess, concludes this little mini series then of videos that we've put together. We really hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much. We've definitely enjoyed filming them, haven't we? Just gives us an excuse to chat all things sewing and sewing beer for 10 weeks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching. Do let us know in the comments, especially with it being the final. What did your winner win? Did the right person win, do you think? Just let us know what was your garment of the week, and what was your highlight from the series, from the whole series this year. We picked out just some of our favourites, but I bet we've forgot some. So
I bet.
Yeah, let us know in the comments and it'll remind us of some of the others, won't it? Yeah. So for the last time this series, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back again soon with another something else. We will we'll come up with another series idea.
Yeah.
Then we don't have to wait a whole 12 months. Thanks for watching, everyone.